think? And again, I almost don't like asking these questions because I know you got a big fight in front of you, but is that the biggest fight that they could
I
make for
think
you? Is
yeah,
that...
for the like, it's gonna be like big like for MMA community, it's gonna be big fight, you know. And people want this fight, and if UFC want this fight, and we can do this.
Do you think the UFC wants this fight? Because I get the sense that they kind of don't. What do
I
you
don't
think?
know. I know UFC want to do like some big fight in White House. Which fight is gonna be bigger than this?
Yeah. He's talking about you win. He wants to go up to 170. I imagine that's probably where you would want to fight, because you don't want to go back to 155, right? You don't want to have to be sitting there and cutting weight again, right? So you're on board with this idea of 170?
Yeah, if you come, it's gonna be better for me, you know. If I have to cut 155, man, it's gonna be hard, and then I might have to pay for this.
Maybe you would need some time, right? But I guess if after Ramadan you could cut back down to 155, right? Because sometimes when you work
yeah,
hard
in
to put
Ramadan
on,
we also lose weight, you know. We'll see after the fight, when I stop to use the creatine and protein. We'll see how much is my weight.
I think you know, like you said, we don't know what's next for Ilia. They haven't announced it, but it kind of feels like Paddy is sort of the most likely one.
Islam Makhachev has entered a new era, and the MMA world can't stop talking about it. After completely cleaning out the lightweight division, the Dagestani phenom is set to make his welterweight debut at UFC 322, where he'll challenge Jack Della Maddalena for the 170-pound title inside Madison Square Garden. But just when fans thought Islam's focus was locked on becoming a two-division champion, he dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through the fight world. He called out Ilia Topuria, the undefeated Spanish-Georgian superstar and current lightweight champion. Yes, you heard that right. Islam Makhachev wants Ilia Topuria, and he wants him next. For years, Makhachev ruled the lightweight division with unmatched dominance, dismantling Charles Oliveira, neutralizing Alexander Volkanovski, and proving time and again why he's one of the most complete mixed martial artists on the planet. But after multiple title defenses and a division running out of new contenders, Islam made it clear he's not just chasing belts anymore, he's chasing greatness. In a post-fight interview earlier this month, he made his intentions known. "I've done everything at lightweight. I want something bigger. I want new challenges. Topuria is a good fighter, but if he wants to prove he's the best, he can meet me at 170. That one quote set social media on fire. Within hours, Makhachev versus Topuria was trending across X and Reddit, with fans calling it a dream fight that could define a new era. But Ilia Topuria isn't one to stay quiet. The Spanish-Georgian knockout artist wasted no time firing back. Just hours after Islam's comments, Topuria took to social media with a line that instantly went viral. "I don't care what weight it is. If Islam wants smoke, I'll bring the fire." In typical El Matador fashion, Topuria didn't just respond, he ignited the rivalry. And the confidence behind his words is real. Topuria's run has been nothing short of spectacular. After shocking the world by knocking out Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 298 to claim the featherweight title, he went on to defend it in dominant fashion before revealing that his days at 145 were over. The brutal weight cuts had taken their toll, and it was time for the next evolution. When he moved up to lightweight, he made an immediate statement, destroying Charles Oliveira at UFC 317 and becoming a two-division world champion. Now, with Makhachev moving up to welterweight to face Jack Della Maddalena, the timeline for a future showdown between the two champions couldn't be more perfect. If Islam wins at 170, he'll have the chance to become a two-division champion in two completely different weight classes, a feat that would cement his legacy among the all-time greats. And that's exactly where Topuria comes in. Both men are in their primes, both are dominant, both are undefeated in years, and both carry the kind of aura rarely seen at the same time in UFC history. Sources close to Topuria's camp have hinted that he's already preparing for bigger opponents, walking around near 170 pounds, making a potential clash at welterweight, or even at a 165-pound catchweight, more realistic than ever. Fans are already fantasy booking the fight, envisioning it as a potential main event for UFC 327 or UFC 328. A collision between two champions, two nations, and two legacies. If Islam defeats Della Maddalena at UFC 322 and Topuria continues his reign of dominance, the stage will be set for one of the biggest super fights in UFC history. At that point, it won't just be about belts. It'll be about greatness, pure and undeniable.
You said, I'm not done with Islam Makhachev. If he wins the welterweight title and he's going to stay up there, I want to go after him. Why do you believe that you can be a three-weight world champion?
I used to train with people who fight in the welterweight division, and I feel very good. We have very competitive rounds, and I feel that I can dominate and knock out anyone in this world. When it comes to fights, I feel that I'm the best fighter in the world.
When asked backstage at the UFC 322 press conference about a potential showdown between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, Dana White did what Dana always does best. He smiled, stayed calm, and dropped just enough of a tease to send the MMA world into chaos. Look, man, Dana said with that trademark grin, Islam's a monster. Ilia's a killer. If they both keep winning, that's a huge fight. We'll see what happens after Madison Square Garden. That one line was all it took. A few simple words, and fans immediately knew what was coming. Because when Dana White hints like that, it's never just talk. It's a signal, a breadcrumb, a quiet confirmation that the UFC matchmakers might already be sketching something massive behind the scenes. For context, UFC 322 at Madison Square Garden is already shaping up to be one of the biggest cards of the year. Headlined by Islam Makhachev's welterweight debut against Jack Della Maddalena, the event marks Islam's attempt to become a two-division champion, following in the legendary footsteps of Georges St-Pierre, Daniel Cormier, and Conor McGregor. But the moment Dana mentioned Ilia Topuria, everything changed. The conversation instantly shifted. Topuria, fresh off a thunderous knockout of Charles Oliveira at UFC 317, has quickly become one of the UFC's brightest stars. With razor-sharp striking, unshakable confidence, and crossover charisma, El Matador has established himself as the new face of Spanish MMA and a legitimate global draw. So when Dana publicly entertained the idea of a Makhachev versus Topuria fight, social media erupted. Within minutes, Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube were flooded with fan posters, edits, and fantasy predictions. Some called it the biggest potential fight since McGregor versus Khabib. Others labeled it a true pound-for-pound collision. Two champions, two styles, two nations colliding at their peaks. But it wasn't just what Dana said, it was how he said it. His tone told the story. He didn't shut the question down. Usually when the media runs too far ahead, Dana steps in fast with a firm, "No, that's not the plan." This time he didn't. He let the idea breathe. He left the door wide open. And that's why analysts and insiders are convinced the UFC is already eyeing Makhachev versus Topuria as a potential headliner for mid-2026, possibly UFC 327 or UFC 328. For Dana White and the UFC, this matchup checks every box. Two world champions, two passionate fan bases, two completely different styles, yet both defined by dominance. On one side, Islam Makhachev, the silent technician from Dagestan, carrying the weight of Sambo's legacy and Khabib Nurmagomedov's torch. On the other, Ilia Topuria, the fiery knockout artist from Spain and Georgia whose swagger, precision, and fearlessness have made him must-see TV. The marketing potential alone is enormous. Power versus precision, legacy versus destiny, the Eagle's successor versus the Matador. It's the kind of fight that doesn't just sell, it defines eras.
Headway on Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, if that title fight's going to get booked soon?
I'll let you know when we get it done.
And just kind of piggybacking off that, obviously with Ilia's win, you know, everyone's really excited to potentially see a future fight with him and Islam. I know that's the fight that people wanted. Ilia said earlier this week that if Islam loses that fight, he wouldn't give the opportunity for Islam to fight for his belt again. Is that something you'd bypass? Because that seems like such a big fight to make.
I mean, this is all talk.
Speculative.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
But I imagine that's a fight you guys would want to make at some point. I mean, just the magnitude
Sure.
of it.
I mean, I'd make that fight tomorrow. Yeah. Or Tuesday, I guess we could say. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask you just about International Fight Week specifically. Obviously, it's the Super Bowl for the UFC. Can you just talk about, you know, everything from the convention and Power Slap, how you felt like, I guess, did it live up to your vision of it in terms of all of the new things that the UFC has been doing for the fans and everything else all week?
What is your question?
Like, did your vision for International Fight Week, as UFC X has grown, Power Slap has grown, how is the execution of everything from your point of view for the fans?
Yeah, no, it's been a hell of a week. I mean, you know, it was our first ever BJJ event.
While Dana White's comments lit the initial spark, the media firestorm that followed has been impossible to ignore. The MMA world is officially divided. ESPN MMA and BT Sport have both released special features debating whether Ilia Topuria's bold callouts are signs of strategic genius or pure overconfidence. The pundits are split. Daniel Cormier called the idea of a Makhachev-Topuria super fight massive but premature, suggesting both men still have business to finish in their divisions. Meanwhile, Michael Bisping praised Topuria's audacity, saying, "That kind of confidence is what makes a superstar." And it's not just the analysts talking, it's the entire internet. Social feeds are overflowing with highlight clips of both fighters. TikTok edits comparing their knockout streaks are racking up millions of views. Reddit polls are asking, who wins, Islam or Ilia? And fan-made posters imagining the bout as the main event of UFC 327 have gone viral. Some fans have even branded it power versus control, the ultimate clash between Topuria's pinpoint striking and Makhachev's suffocating grappling. Now, another name has officially entered the discussion, Merab the Machine Dvalishvili. Known for his relentless pace and honest takes, the Georgian-born bantamweight champion made his stance clear. This is the only fight that makes sense right now. Speaking to reporters earlier this year, Merab said he believes both Islam and Ilia are at the absolute peak of their powers. If the UFC truly wants to make history, he insists, this is the fight to book next. Merab praised Islam's dominance, calling him a monster and acknowledging his unmatched run through the lightweight division. But he also highlighted how quickly Topuria has risen into superstardom, saying, "I know Islam says he doesn't want to fight small guys, but Ilia is the biggest name right now." What made Merab's comments stand out, though, was a personal revelation. He's actually trained with Topuria in the past, and according to him, the hype is very real. "I've sparred with Ilia before," Merab admitted. "He's fast, powerful, accurate. Even his body shots can drop you. Trust me, I've felt it." That kind of first-hand insight gives Merab's opinion weight. He's not speaking as a fan or analyst. He's speaking from inside the cage, where Topuria's speed, precision, and power aren't theories. They're facts. From Merab's perspective, the timing couldn't be better. Islam Makhachev is on the brink of history, moving up to welterweight to face Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 322, while Ilia Topuria continues his ascent as one of the sport's most electrifying finishers. If both men win their upcoming fights, Merab believes there's no reason to delay the inevitable. If the UFC really wants a fight that fans will go crazy for, this is the one. 2 champions, 2 styles, 2 countries. This is how you make a super fight. And judging by the way the MMA world has erupted, it's hard to disagree.
Who do you think wins if Islam and Topuria fight?
I hope it's gonna happen. It's gonna be a tough fight for Ilia, for sure. Ilia make you either shoot him, which is he will stop, or no, Islam has to strike with him, and then striking, we all know how Ilia fights and how dangerous he is and how knockout power he have. So it's gonna be a tough fight for Ilia for sure, like every fight is, but I believe he can finish Islam Makhachev.
Chael Sonnen has never been one to follow the crowd, and this time, the American gangster is shutting down one of the most talked about fantasy matchups in MMA. On his podcast this week, Sonnen made his stance clear. Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria will never happen. According to Chael, fans are getting swept up in dream scenarios without acknowledging the realities of weight classes, timing, and UFC business strategy. Islam's chasing a second belt at welterweight, and Topuria's still proving himself at featherweight, Sonnen said. They're on 2 totally different paths. Sonnen didn't hold back when it came to the real reason the fight likely won't materialize anytime soon: the business side. You can't just smash your 2 biggest champions together unless the timing is perfect, he explained. If one of them loses, you kill a division's momentum. To Sonnen, the UFC has no reason to take that risk right now. Both Makhachev and Topuria are thriving in their respective lanes, headlining their own events, drawing massive numbers, and expanding their markets. From a promotional standpoint, it makes far more sense to let both rein in their divisions than to gamble on a super fight that could derail either star's momentum. Still, even Sonnen couldn't deny the allure of the matchup. On paper, it's the kind of stylistic clash that defines eras: the Dagestani technician versus the Spanish-Georgian knockout artist. But in classic Chael fashion, he grounded the conversation in hard reality. If they were the same size and in the same division, it'd be massive, he admitted. But in the real world, it's just fantasy. As expected, Sonnen's comments lit up social media. Some fans agreed, saying the timing just doesn't line up. Others accused him of underestimating how fast Topuria could rise through the ranks, or how willing Makhachev might be to chase greatness beyond weight boundaries. But one thing's for sure, when Chael Sonnen declares something will never happen, the conversation doesn't die down, it explodes.
I don't believe Islam is aware is that when he experiences life at 170 pounds, he's never going to go back to 155. There's nobody in fighting that wants to be smaller. There's nobody in life except for a dude that's obese that wants to be smaller. If Ilia would like to come to 170, then that would be the move. It would not be in line with the history of the sport to have success and then cut weight to try to have success. You were going to change weight classes, you would take Islam to 185 and you would put him with Jemai. Like this idea of 55 and of this magnificent fight between Ilia Topuria. I know that Islam and Ilia, they want that to be a huge fight, but they're just wrong. You don't sell one more t-shirt, one more bag of popcorn, you don't do one more dollar at the gate with Islam versus Ilia than you do Patty the Batty versus Ilia.
That's all for today's Fight Talk, but this story's far from over. Do you think Islam versus Topuria ever happens? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for all things MMA, right here on Cage Shock.